Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining this Vastari webinar today, part of the new Vastari webinar series called Keep Calm and Carry On. In essence, our team has been trying to find things that inspire us during these strange times and have been looking around for things from 2020 that weren't just the setbacks, but also the interesting new things that were making us want to keep coming to work and keep carrying on. So we put together a series of 4 talks that will be happening between now and March, relating to subjects in art and technology that we think are inspiring. This is the first talk of that series, and I'm delighted to be joined by Alex Estoric and Gretchen Andrew today. So we will start the conversation in one moment. I just wanted to remind you that Vastari will be hosting 3 other talks as well on the 2nd of February with Smartify, on the 16th of February relating to the carbon footprint of the art sector, and on the 2nd of March about NFTs and digital art. So make sure you take a look at our homepage and you'll be able to find the landing page with all of the talks and all of the details there. But let's start talking about this talk. This talk, we titled it Hacking into the Wild West of Art on the Internet, a conversation about internet imperialism. A lot of the talk is inspired by Gretchen Andrew's work, but Alex actually wrote an interesting article that also mentions another artist's work, and I think he'll be talking about that in a moment. They will each be introducing themselves for 5 to 10 minutes. Then we're just going to dissect some of those key terms in that title for a few minutes before opening it up to Q&A with all of you. We will respect your time, so we will be done within the hour. And so you can get on with your day, do whatever else you want to do. But without further ado, I'll let Alex start introducing himself.
Thanks, Bernadine. Hi, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Alex Estoric. I head up Flash Art's new column, which specializes in art and the relationship between art and AI. But I kind of treat it more generally than that, to take in broadly the relationship between art and technology. And I was thinking about the notion of keeping calm and carrying on, not something I'm terribly good at, especially right now. And it made me realize that, you know, whether you're an artist or a collector or a dealer, or you work in a museum, whatever part of the orbit of the art world you work within, this period of solitary confinement has likely changed the way you operate. As a writer, one thing I've noticed, and I think it's sort of almost universal, is this flattening of the experience of viewing images, which we've all sort of undergone without physical space. And what that means in practice is it's sort of the culmination of something that's been developing for a while. Is that, you know, if we go on Instagram, or if we go on a crypto art market, if we go online, we are the old boundary lines, the old firewalls between contemporary art, new media, illustration, graphic design, and so forth, have broadly been made sort of dissolved or porous in a kind of unprecedented way. So we now are sort of faced with a sort of a much expanded envelope of images, which in one sense is very democratic, because it makes it liberates and equalizes artists in a way that previously, you know, the contemporary art world has tended to control what constitutes good, valuable art. Right now, it doesn't matter if you've got a degree from the RA or St. Martin's, or you've got a big gallery backing you. The reality is we've reached this new stage of sort of images in general, to the point where we now have artists self-identifying as multidisciplinary. as neither one thing nor the other, one person or the other. And actually, I'd like to say that I think that's a profoundly positive step, but it is a seismic one. And of course, there is a reason we have domains of competence, because without them, in some respects, we have no means of valuing quality. If there's no rules of engagement anymore, how do we know what's good or not? So there's a kind of threat of a race to the bottom and potential, I suppose, a decline in quality, whatever that would mean. In practice, I think it's fundamentally a positive step, but it has changed clearly the way we operate and the way we think about images. You'll notice I tend to talk about images rather than art, which I find is usually overloaded with elitist and unhelpful associations, which we kind of don't need anymore in a way. I also, just from a theoretical standpoint, take the view that we're kind of coming towards the end of art, in the sense that it was sort of written down by Immanuel Kant, 300 years ago, which was basically a space for white blokes like me to ponce around and so forth. So that's not really the kind of art I want to deal with. And I'd like to sort of situate Gretchen's work as a kind of critical and political strategy that I think can actually point a way towards a new kind of image making, which is genuinely critical and politically allows us in a way to critique the systems of domination that control us all increasingly in this enforced state of flatness.